Hello guys, welcome to Allround Plus. Today I am going to talk on Wilma Rudolph's. Wilma Glodine Rudolph, born on June 23, 1940 and died on November 12, 1994, was an American sprinter, who became a world record-holding Olympic champion and international sports icon in track and field following her successes in the 1956 and 1960 Olympic Games. Rudolph competed in the 200-meter dash and won a bronze medal in the 4x100-meter relay at the 1956 Summer Olympics at Melbourne, Australia. She also won 3 gold medals, in the 100 and 200-meter individual events and the 4x100-meter relay at the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome. Rudolph was acclaimed the fastest woman in the world in the 1960s and became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. Due to the worldwide television coverage of the 1960 Summer Olympics, Rudolph became an international star along with other Olympic athletes such as Cassius Clay, who was later known as Muhammad Ali, Oscar Robertson, and Rafer Johnson, who competed in Italy. As an Olympic champion in the early 1960s, Rudolph was among the most highly visible black women in America and abroad. She became a role model for black and female athletes, and her Olympic successes helped elevate women's track and field in the United States. Rudolph is also regarded as a civil rights and women's rights pioneer. In 1962, Rudolph retired from competition at the peak of her athletic career as the world record holder in the 100 and 200-meter individual events and the 4x100-meter relays. After competing in the 1960 Summer Olympics, the 1963 graduate of Tennessee State University became an educator and coach. Rudolph died of brain and throat cancer in 1994, and her achievements are memorialized in a variety of tributes, including a U.S. postage stamp, documentary films, and a made-for-television movie, as well as in numerous publications, especially books for young readers. Rudolph was born prematurely to Blanche Rudolph at 4.5 pounds on June 23, 1940, in St. Bethlehem, Tennessee. She was the 20th of 22 children from her father Ed Rudolph's 2 marriages. Shortly after Wilma's birth, her family moved to Clarksville, Tennessee, where she grew up and attended elementary and high school. Her father, Ed, who worked as a railway porter and did odd jobs in Clarksville, died in 1961. Her mother, Blanche, worked as a maid in Clarksville homes and died in 1994. Rudolph had several early childhood illnesses, including pneumonia and scarlet fever, and she contracted infantile paralysis at the age of 5. She recovered from polio but lost strength in her left leg and foot. Physically disabled for much of her early life, Rudolph wore a leg brace until she was 12 years old. Because there was little medical care available to African American residents of Clarksville in the 1940s, Rudolph's parents sought treatment for her at the historically black McCary Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee, about 50 miles from Clarksville. For 2 years, Rudolph and her mother made weekly bus trips to Nashville for treatments to regain the use of her weakened leg. She also received subsequent at-home massage treatments 4 times a day from members of her family and wore an orthopedic shoe for support of her foot for another 2 years. Because of the treatments she received at McCary and the daily massages from her family members, Rudolph was able to overcome the debilitating effects of polio and learn to walk without a leg brace or orthopedic shoe for support by the time she was 12 years old. Rudolph was initially homeschooled due to the frequent illnesses that caused her to miss kindergarten and first grade. She began attending 2nd grade at Cobb Elementary School in Clarksville in 1947, when she was 7 years old. Rudolph attended Clarksville's all-black Byrd High School, where she excelled in basketball and track. During her senior year of high school, Rudolph became pregnant with her first child, Yolanda, who was born in 1958, a few weeks before her enrollment at Tennessee State University in Nashville. In college, Rudolph continued to compete in track. She also became a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. In 1963, Rudolph graduated from Tennessee State with a bachelor's degree in education. Rudolph's college education was paid for through her participation in a work-study scholarship program that required her to work on the SU campus for 2 hours a day. Rudolph was first introduced to organized sports at Byrd High School, the center of Clarksville's African American community. After completing several years of medical treatments to regain the use of her left leg, Rudolph chose to follow in her sister Yvonne's footsteps and began playing basketball in the 8th grade. Rudolph continued to play basketball in high school, where she became a starter on the team and began competing in track. In her sophomore year, Rudolph scored 803 points and set a new record for high school girls basketball. Rudolph's high school coach, C.C. Gray, gave her the nickname of Skeeter because she moved so fast. While playing for her high school basketball team, Rudolph was spotted by Ed Temple, Tennessee State's track and field coach, a major break for the active young athlete. The day that Temple saw the 10th grader for the first time, he knew she was a natural athlete. Rudolph had already gained some track experience on Byrd High School's track team 2 years earlier, mostly as a way to keep busy between basketball seasons. As a high school sophomore, Rudolph competed at Alabama's Tuskegee Institute in her first major track event. Although she lost the race, Rudolph was determined to continue competing and win. Temple invited 14-year-old Rudolph to join his summer training program at Tennessee State. After attending the track camp, Rudolph won all 9 events she entered at an amateur athletic union track meet in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Under Temple's guidance, she continued to train regularly at SU while still a high school student. Rudolph raced at amateur athletic events with TSU's women's track team, known as the Tiger Bells, for 2 more years before enrolling at SU as a student in 1958. When Rudolph was 16 and a junior in high school, she attended the 1956 U.S. Olympic track and field team trials in Seattle, Washington, and qualified to compete in the 200-meter individual event at the 1956 Summer Olympics in Melbourne, Australia. Rudolph, the youngest member of the U.S. Olympic team, was one of 5 Sioux Tiger Bells to qualify for the 1956 Melbourne Olympics. Rudolph was defeated in a preliminary heat of the 200-meter race at the Melbourne Olympic Games, but ran the 3rd leg of the 4x100 meters relay. The American team of Rudolph, Isabel Daniels, May Faggs, and Margaret Matthews, all of whom were Sioux Tiger Bells, won the bronze medal, matching the world record time of 44.9 seconds. The British team won the silver medal. The Australian team, with the 100 and 200-meter gold medalist Betty Cuthbert as their anchor leg, won the gold medal in a time of 44.5 seconds. After Rudolph returned to her Tennessee home from the Melbourne Olympic Games, she showed her high school classmates the bronze medal that she had won and decided to try to win a gold medal at the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome, Italy. In 1958, Rudolph enrolled at Tennessee State, where Temple continued as her track coach. In 1959, at the Pan American Games in Chicago, Illinois, Rudolph won a silver medal in the 100-meter individual event, as well as a gold medal in the 4x100-meter relay with teammates Isabel Dan, Barbara Joe, and Lucinda Williams. She also won the AAU 200-meter title in 1959 and defended it for 4 consecutive years. During her career, Rudolph also won 3 AAU indoor titles. While she was still a sophomore at Tennessee State, Rudolph competed in the U.S. Olympic track and field trials at Abilene Christian University in Abilene, Texas, where she set a world record in the 200-meter dash that stood for 8 years. She also qualified for the 1960 Summer Olympics in the 100-meter dash. At the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome, Italy, Rudolph competed in 3 events on a cinder track in Rome's Stadio Olimpico, the 100 and 200-meter sprints, as well as the 4x100-meter relay. Rudolph, who won a gold medal in each of these events, became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympiad. Rudolph ran the finals in the 100-meter dash in a wind-aided time of 11.0 seconds. The record-setting time was not credited as a world record, because the wind, at 2.75 meters per second, exceeded the maximum of 2 meters. Rudolph became the first American woman to win a gold medal in the 100-meter race since Helen Stevens's win in the 1936 Summer Olympics. Rudolph won another gold medal in the finals of the 200-meter dash with a time of 24.0 seconds, after setting a new Olympic record of 23.2 seconds in the opening heat. After these wins, she was hailed throughout the world as the fastest woman in history. On September 7, 1960, the temperature climbed toward 110 degrees Fahrenheit as thousands of spectators jammed the stadium. Rudolph combined efforts with her Olympic teammates from Tennessee State, Martha Hudson, Lucinda Williams, and Barbara Jones, to win the 4x100-meter relays with a time of 44.5 seconds, after setting a world record of 44.4 seconds in the semifinals. Rudolph ran the anchor leg for the American team in the finals and nearly dropped the baton after a pass from Williams, but she overtook Germany's anchor leg to win the relay in a close finish. Rudolph had a special, personal reason to hope for victory, to pay tribute to Jesse Owens, the celebrated American athlete and star of the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin, Germany, who had been her inspiration. Rudolph was one of the most popular athletes of the 1960 Rome Olympics and emerged from the Olympic Games as the Tornado, the fastest woman on Earth. The Italians nicknamed her La Gazzella Nera. The French called her La Perle Noire, as well as La Chattanooga Choo Choo. Along with other 1960 Olympic athletes such as Cassius Clay, Oscar Robertson, and Rafer Johnson, Rudolph became an international star due to the first worldwide television coverage of the Olympics that year. The 1960 Rome Olympics launched Rudolph into the public spotlight, and the media cast her as America's athletic, leading lady, and a queen, with praises of her athletic accomplishments as well as her feminine beauty and poise. Rudolph returned home to Clarksville after completing a post-Games European tour, where she and her Olympic teammates competed in meets in London, West Germany, the Netherlands, and at other venues in Europe. Rudolph's hometown of Clarksville celebrated Welcome Wilma Day on October 4, 1960, with a full day of festivities. Because Rudolph adamantly insisted, her homecoming parade and banquet became the first fully integrated municipal event in the city's history. An estimated 1,100 attended the banquet in her honor, and thousands lined the city streets to watch the parade. Rudolph's gold medal victories in Rome also propelled her to become one of the most highly visible black women across the United States and around the world. Her Olympic star status also gave an enormous boost to the indoor track circuit in the months following the Olympic Games in Rome. In 1961, Rudolph competed in the prestigious Los Angeles Invitational Indoor Track Meet, where thousands turned out to watch her run. Besides, she was invited to compete in New York Athletic Club track events and became the first woman invited to compete at the Millrose Games. Rudolph was also invited to compete at the Penn Relays and the Drake Relays, among others. Following her Olympic victories, the United States Information Agency made a 10-minute documentary film, Wilma Rudolph, Olympic Champion, to highlight her accomplishments on the track. As Rudolph explained it, she retired at the peak of her athletic career because she wanted to leave the sport while still at her best. Rudolph also married Robert Eldridge, who had fathered her child when she was in high school, later that year. In 1981, Rudolph established and led the Wilma Rudolph Foundation, a nonprofit organization based in Indianapolis, Indiana, that trains youth athletes. In 1992, 2 years before her untimely death, Rudolph became a vice president at Nashville's Baptist Hospital. Rudolph dated boxing legend Muhammad Ali during the early 1960s. She was married twice, with both marriages ending in divorce. Following the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Berlin in 1994, Berlin American High School Boz was turned over to the people of Berlin and became the Gesamtschule am Hitchwinkel. The school was renamed the Wilma Rudolph Oberschule in her honor in summer 2000. So now goodbye for a while, we will meet again, thank you.